Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mugen Lord, and I just got finished watching the Star Ocean Divine Force live stream presented by Square Enix Japan. And all I can say is that this game is leagues ahead of Star Ocean integrity and faithlessness, which I did a video about, giving my opinion about the game. So if you're interested, definitely go check that out. But besides that, Star Ocean Divine Force looks a bit more promising than I had hoped when I first saw the first reveal trailer of the game last year. And I have to admit, at first the game looked kind of rough, and I wasn't too thrilled about the game at the time, but I was glad to see that Square Enix was finally giving the series another chance. But besides that, despite me being a bit more positive about today's presentation of the game, I am still a bit concerned about how they are handling the game's marketing. So we're going to talk a bit more about that when it comes to Star Ocean Divine Force, or for short, Star Ocean 6, and what the game has to offer alongside its release date. So let us dive right into it. For starters, I have an issue, and the issue I have with it, like I said before, is the game's marketing. For starter, the game was only presented to the Japanese audience. Now, this gives me the CD of Final Fantasy vibes back a few years ago, where they was only presenting to the Japanese audience when it came to new content, what they're doing for the game, and the Western audience or the last to know what's going on. In most cases, we don't know what's going on, and that's the type of vibe I'm getting from that. So fans of the West was pretty much excluded from this reveal, and I had no idea, that the stream was pretty much coming out, or it was happening this week, until a member of my Discord had mentioned it to me. So some may argue that the Star Ocean series is not really a huge success over here, but then that doesn't make sense, because why, if you're going to release it here to begin with, why make a dedicated Japanese stream if you're planning to release it here? And in fact, the release date is October 27th, 2022, which is only 3 months away from release, and it's only marketed to the Japanese audience, which I just find kind of odd. So how can you expect Square Enix to build some type of hype? How can Square Enix expect some type of hype if they're not building it towards the other half of the market, and where the market doesn't even know that the game exists? But I digress. So what was shown in the presentation? Well, we finally get a closer look into the cast and the story. Well, I mean, if I could really understand the story, I mean, it's in Japanese, so I really don't know what the hell they're talking about. Well, anyway, we learned that the game will have a heavy focus on sci-fi and fantasy, which is going back to its roots, which is represented by two main protagonists, which is something we haven't seen in a very long time in a Star Ocean game. My question now is if they are selectable from the start of the game, and if so, will that mean there will be minor story differences depending on which character perspective that you decide to take control of? And that also increases replayability as well. But when it comes to the game's character design, I don't know why Tri-Ace insists on going with these doll-like character models. Even though they seem a bit more expressive this time around, they still look a bit soulless to me, and I would prefer that they come up with a new style for the Star Ocean series to represent the next generation for the series moving forward. Now, the main protagonist still looks generic in his design, in my opinion, or at least a bit outdated. He looks clearly like he's from the early to mid 2000 JRPG protagonist, but that's just my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but definitely love to hear your opinions about that in the description below, or the comment section below. But I can say that the graphics overall looks a bit better than the first trailer release last year, which is a sign of a relief to me. So the main protagonist and his crew were being attacked by oncoming enemies in space, which caused them to escape in these space pods. Then eventually they crash land onto an underdeveloped planet. That is pretty much the motto for your typical Star Ocean game. This is where the crossover between sci-fi and fantasy come into play. And since it was a Japanese trailer, I have no clue what was being said in the trailer, so we're going to just dive right into the game's combat. So what I love most about the series is its combat system, and it looks like there have been serious major overhauls, or I would say improvements, done to it. Now, the game has a seamless transition between battle and exploration. All the enemies appear on the map, and you can freely attack them at your precaution. Now, the combat looks more freeform than ever before, and there are new meters implemented for adding melee attacks in between your combo strings, so that looks pretty cool. And also, you're able to assign more special attacks to various buttons, which is finally back, which means player expression has returned to the combat. You just don't understand how underwhelming the combat system was in Star Ocean 5. It really boggled my mind of how repetitive, how boring, and how restrictive it was when it came to player creativity with the combat system. But more importantly, you are still able to switch party members in combat, which is a JRPG hallmark. You can't have a JRPG without party management, so kudos that they kept that intact. Glad they didn't remove that. And there's also some hints of pretty much weapon switching between combos, which seems to maybe a new feature, and hopefully it's just not exclusive to the female party member that they have shown off. Hopefully that other characters will be able to switch weapons during combat, and that would pretty much be sick. Can you imagine what kind of combos you can pull off and come up with if you're able to switch your different weapon styles in between combat? I think that'd be pretty cool, and that would flesh out the combat system even more. Now, a new feature introduced is this droid that allows you to float in midair and even fly into hard to reach areas. And not only that, you can use this aerial combat to perform combos on the enemy, which also depletes this gauge that appears near your health and other important information on the screen. And that's pretty much the gist of it. We really still have no idea in terms of the story, since it was only presented in the Japanese market and its audience. But overall, the game looks like it's a bit better. The exploration, at first, I said before, the game, kind of like reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles and also Phantasy Star with how it looks in terms of designs. But now I'm looking more and more at the game, and they fleshed the game out more, and they're showing us what the combat look like with the world and how you traverse. It looks really, really good in that sense, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm still a bit iffy in terms of the character models and the character designs, and I'm still a bit iffy when it comes to the marketing of how this game is being presented. Now, I understand that it seems like that Square Enix is definitely want to play it safe. They want to play it close to their chest as far as the budget is concerned, is because Star Ocean games aren't as popular as, I would say, a Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and of course now the Nier series. So I understand why certain things has to be done, but come on, Square Enix, if you want this game to be successful, you have to put it out there for everybody to be able to get their hands onto it, or to get them interested in it at least. Now, as far as platforms are concerned, they're releasing it not only on the PS5 or the PS4, because last gen consoles are also going to be able to get their hands on this game, but it's also being released on Steam, and most importantly, and shockingly, well, I wouldn't say shockingly, it's also coming to the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One. Now, I decided I'm gonna get it for the Xbox Series X. I had Star Ocean Last Hope on the Xbox 360, so I want to carry that on to the Xbox Series X, because I also want to play some of my JRPGs on the Xbox Series X. I like the Xbox Series X, and it seems like Square Enix, when they have their less popular franchises or their less selling franchises, they want to make sure it goes across all platforms and make sure they recuperate their funds, and for this product. So it kind of makes sense, but I'm definitely going to grab it for the Xbox Series X. But that pretty much wraps up this video. That's all I really wanted to just give my thoughts on when it comes to Star Ocean Divine Force, or Star Ocean 6, however you want to call it. But I want to hear your thoughts. Did you know anything about this presentation? Because I most certainly didn't until one of my Discord members had mentioned it to me and linked me to the tweet on Twitter. So let me know. And what do you find interesting about the combat and also its characters? But are you just overall excited at the fact that we are just getting another Star Ocean? So leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because it definitely helps me out in the algorithm. And make sure to hit that bell to be notified for more gaming news and JRPG news. This is Mugen Lord, sign off, and I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.